Quick, picture the deadliest animal in the world. Go with your gut. Most people see teeth, a great white shark rising out of the dark, a lion mid-charge, a crocodile's eyes on the waterline, maybe a hippo, a snake, a bear. Every single one of those is wrong, and they're not a little wrong. They're almost comically wrong. The animals that live in your nightmares kill so few people every year, you could fit all their victims into a single village hall. The actual deadliest animal in the history of the world is small enough to sit on this word. It's in your garden right now. You have almost certainly killed one this year with a single lazy slap, and it has killed more human beings than every war ever fought, combined. So let's count it down properly, from the monsters that barely scratch us, all the way up to the tiny thing at the top, with real, current numbers, and I'm going to bust the famous myths about it along the way, because even the videos with 50 million views get this wrong. Welcome to the arena. Here's the rule for this whole countdown, and it's the thing almost nobody tells you. Your fear is a liar. Evolution wired you to be terrified of big, fast, toothy things that could eat you on the savannah. So a shark feels 1,000 times scarier than a puddle of stagnant water. But fear and body count have almost nothing to do with each other. In fact, they're close to inverted. The animals we're most afraid of kill the fewest people. The animals we ignore or laugh at or actively love, those are the killers. I'm going to walk you up the ladder, rung by rung, counting the real number of humans each animal kills every year. Fair warning on the numbers. Every single one is an estimate with a wide margin, because a lot of these deaths happen in places where nobody's keeping a careful tally. So, where the popular videos give you a confident round number, I'll give you the honest range, and where a fact is actually a myth, I'll say so. That honesty is the whole point. Let's start at the bottom, with the animal you were probably picturing 10 seconds ago. The shark, the star of Jaws, the reason a whole generation won't swim past their waist. Deadliest animal on Earth, sharks kill about 6 people a year. 6. Worldwide, in 2024, there was a grand total of 1 fatal shark attack in the United States. You are genuinely more likely to die taking a selfie than you are to be killed by a shark. The most feared animal in the ocean is, statistically, a rounding error. That's the inversion in one number. Hold on to it, because it only gets stranger from here. Hippos. Now you'll have heard the hippo is a secret monster, the deadliest large animal in Africa, and specifically that it kills 500 people a year. It's one of the most repeated animal facts online. So let me do the thing the other videos won't. That 500 number has no solid source behind it. When you chase the careful data, the real figure looks closer to 50. Hippos are genuinely dangerous, and I would not get between one and the water. But the famous number is inflated by about 10 times. First myth, busted. We're going to do that a few times today. Lions, the king of beasts, the apex predator of 1,000 documentaries, about 100 people a year. That's it. The single most iconic predator on the planet kills roughly as many people as... We'll get to what kills 100 times more, and it does not have teeth. Elephants actually climb higher than you'd think, around 1,000 a year, more than lions and hippos put together, mostly from trampling in places where people and elephants are crushed into the same shrinking space. Crocodiles are somewhere between a couple hundred and 1,000. The data is genuinely messy, so anyone who gives you one clean number is guessing. And now we cross a line, because from here up, the killers stop being things with teeth and start being things with cargo. The animals near the top of this list barely hurt you themselves. What they carry does. The tsetse fly, a little African fly that spreads sleeping sickness. Decades ago, it killed tens of thousands a year. Now, after a real, unglamorous public health grind, it's down to around 1,500. I'm putting that on the list specifically so you see a win, a killer we genuinely beat back. The kissing bug, which is a real insect with a real horrible name that bites you near the mouth while you sleep and spreads Chagas disease. Around 8,000 a year. Freshwater snails, yes, snails, spread a parasite called schistosomiasis through the water it lives in. Around 14,000. A garden snail's cousin outkills every big cat on Earth several times over. Dogs, man's best friend. Around 59,000 human deaths a year. And here's the key. It's almost never the animal itself. It's rabies, and about 99% of human rabies comes from a dog bite. The most loyal, beloved animal we've ever domesticated is, through one virus, one of the deadliest on the planet. Fear and body count. Inverted again. Snakes are the first killer on this list that might match your instincts. Somewhere between 80,000 and 140,000 deaths a year from snake bite. And even that is wildly undercounted, because most bites happen to farmers, at night far from a hospital with antivenom. Snakes are the deadliest thing we've met so far by a distance. And then there's the second-place animal, and it's the most uncomfortable one on the whole list. The second deadliest animal to human beings is human beings. Around 400,000 of us are murdered by another one of us every year. We are, by body count, the runner-up. Sit with that for a second. Because we've now passed every shark, every lion, every snake, every murderer on Earth. And there is still one animal above all of them. One animal that kills nearly twice as many people as every homicide on the planet. And you could hold 100 of it in the palm of your hand. It's the mosquito. The deadliest animal in the history of the world is a bug that weighs about 2.5 milligrams, that you can kill by accident, that you have swatted without a second thought. Best estimate, mosquitoes are behind somewhere around 750,000 human deaths every year, more than any other animal on the planet, more than sharks, lions, snakes, and murder combined, and it's not even close. Now, you'll have seen the old number. Mosquitoes kill 1 million people a year. You'll see it in videos with tens of millions of views. It was roughly true a couple of decades ago. It is out of date now, and the real, current story is actually better and more interesting. Because to understand how a 2-milligram insect became the champion, you have to understand a magic trick. The mosquito itself is almost harmless. It's what it's carrying. A mosquito bite can't kill you. The mosquito is the delivery truck. The cargo is the killer. When a mosquito drinks your blood, it can leave something behind in your bloodstream. And for most of that death toll, that something is one disease: malaria. And the actual killer is smaller than the mosquito that carries it. It's a parasite called Plasmodium. You get injected with it in the mosquito's spit. It hides in your liver, then bursts out into your red blood cells and multiplies until your body is on fire with fever. That parasite is the real deadliest thing in this video. The mosquito is just its wings. Here are the honest, current numbers, because this is exactly where we beat the videos that are still quoting a decade ago. In 2023, the most recent full count, malaria infected about 263 million people and killed about 597,000. That's roughly one death every single minute, all year long. And these deaths are not random. About 95% of them are in Africa, and the majority are children under the age of 5. The deadliest animal in the world overwhelmingly kills small children in the poorest places from a disease most of the audience watching this has never had to think about for a single day of their lives. And now the big one. The single most repeated mosquito fact on the entire internet, that mosquitoes have killed half of all human beings who have ever lived. Half of everyone. Every video says it. It's on posters at science museums. It's almost certainly wrong. When you trace that claim, it comes from a single line in an article 2 decades ago, with no source, no citation, no calculation behind it. Scientists who actually study malaria's history, like Professor Brian Farragher at the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, put the real share of all human deaths caused by malaria closer to 4 or 5%, not 50. Now, 4 or 5% of every human who has ever died is still an absolutely staggering, world-shaping number. Malaria has genuinely shaped where we live, which wars were won, which empires fell, but it is not half, and a channel that would tell you half to make the number bigger is a channel that doesn't respect you. The truth is dramatic enough. Is it more deaths than every war in recorded history combined? Honestly, probably yes, as a big-picture estimate across thousands of years. But nobody counted the graves of the Bronze Age, so we say estimate, and we mean it. So how does something this small hunt something as big as you? Beautifully and horribly. First, only the females bite. The males never touch you. They drift around, drinking flower nectar and pollinating plants, entirely harmless. And the females aren't biting for food either. They need the protein in your blood for one reason: to develop their eggs. Your blood isn't her dinner, it's baby formula. And she finds you from a shocking distance. She can smell the carbon dioxide in your breath from over 100 feet away, then follows it in like a heat-seeking missile, homing in on your body heat, the lactic acid in your sweat, even the bacteria on your skin. Some people really do get bitten more. If you're pregnant or you've had a beer, you're lighting yourself up like a runway. Then she lands, and she doesn't so much bite as drill. A set of 6 needle-thin tools that slide in through your skin looking for a blood vessel. And that itchy red bump she leaves behind, that's not her, that's you, your own immune system overreacting to a few molecules of mosquito spit. It's a different mosquito genus for each disease: Anopheles for malaria, Aedes for dengue and Zika and yellow fever. But the trick is always the same: tiny courier, world-ending cargo. Now for the part that actually matters, because this is not a hopeless story. It's the opposite. Human beings have been at war with this animal for a century, and slowly, unevenly, we're winning. Since the year 2000, we have cut the annual malaria death toll by nearly half. And the single most powerful weapon isn't high-tech. It's a bed net, a treated net over a bed, so the night-biting Anopheles can't reach a sleeping child. Unbelievably boring, and it works. Nets and spraying and treatment together have prevented an estimated 7 million deaths just since 2004. Then there's the darker chapter: DDT, the insecticide that straight-up eliminated malaria from the United States and Europe in the mid-20th century, until Rachel Carson's Silent Spring revealed it was poisoning entire ecosystems on its way. The cure became its own disaster. And now the science fiction stuff is real. In Brazil, engineers released genetically modified male mosquitoes whose daughters simply can't survive to adulthood, and crashed the target population by about 95%. And the breakthrough 100 years in the making. For the first time in human history, we have malaria vaccines. The newest one, R21, is about 75% effective, and in 2024 it began reaching children across 17 African countries. Which leaves one genuinely hard question, and I'll leave it with you rather than pretend I've got the answer. We are close, closer than we've ever been, to being able to erase the deadliest animal in history entirely. Wipe the disease-carrying mosquitoes off the planet on purpose, and when the animal in question kills 600,000 children a year, that can sound like the easiest moral decision ever made. But a mosquito is also food, for fish, for birds, for bats, for frogs, and a pollinator, and a thread in an ecosystem we do not fully understand. Pull one thread and you cannot be sure what unravels. So, if you had the button, the one that ends malaria forever by ending an entire animal, do you press it? There's no cowardly answer. Tell me down in the comments what you do and be honest about why. And you, could you survive the deadliest animal on Earth? Here's the strange, uncomfortable truth. You almost certainly already have, hundreds of times without ever noticing. If you're watching this from most of Europe, or North America, or Australia, the mosquito that lands on your arm this summer is a nuisance and nothing more. One bad night's itch. The exact same insect a few thousand miles south is the single most dangerous thing a small child will ever meet. And that's the part that should stay with you. The deadliest animal in history isn't deadly because it's strong or fast or clever. It's deadly because of where you happen to be born. The shark got the movie. The lion got the crown. But the quiet little insect in the corner of the room has, silently, outkilled every one of them. And whether it's a footnote in your summer or a matter of life and death comes down to nothing more than which side of a map you were born on. If you're new here, welcome to Tooth and Claw Arena, where we take the animal that keeps you up at night and check it against the actual numbers every single week. If you enjoyed having your fear proven statistically ridiculous, subscribe. There's a new one waiting for you. Next time, we go the other way and ask the opposite question. What is the single strongest animal that has ever lived? And I promise you it is not the one flexing on the thumbnail. And before you go, what did you guess at the start? Shark? Lion? Snake? Drop your first answer in the comments and own it. Until then, stay out of the arena.